Seems like there's some gold just sitting on the ground that you could mine here, right? As of right now, it's not looking great for outbound, getting your message out. You have to build a community of people through social, through advertising, through cold outreach that you bring onto a platform you own. Becoming a creator is, I think, essential for every business person. I think it's like not optional anymore.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're listening to Owner RX with Alan Pentz, the podcast for business owners who want to scale without sacrifice. Each episode delivers battle-tested strategies from the Owner RX Playbook library, showing you exactly how to build systems that run without you. Here's your host, Alan Pentz.
All right, we are back on the Owner RX podcast. It is a early Monday morning for me, so I'm a little cranky today. But how are
Alan's
things?
cranky. Alan's
Right.
cranky. Watch out. Things are good here. You know, we changed our clocks back, so there's only a 5-hour time difference for me. All this, this cuts right into siesta time.
That's right.
It's
That's
true.
right. What
Food
better
and
way
siesta.
to spend your siesta than talking about small businesses, right?
That's right. Yeah, but this is a good one. We're going to talk about community and creators as drivers of small business. So if anything's going to keep me, awake, this will do it.
Oh, I'm sure. So today, we're going to talk a little bit. This is sort of like a little bit inspired by a venture capitalist named Sam Lessin, and they're called Slow Ventures, and they started a creator fund. They're venture capitalists and funding creators. And so some of the theory behind it I thought was kind of interesting, which is, the outbound world right now is getting supercharged with AI, outbound email, some text calls and stuff. And AI is getting increasingly good at it. So people are winning with that right now. But clearly, within a year or two, as everyone figures that out and how powerful it is, they're just going to flood the zone. And, outbound is just going to become undoable or I don't know, maybe somebody invents something else, but it certainly feels like we're going to get to a point where people just can't respond to anything. And so that, and we've already seen a decline in advertising, digital advertising, because of the changes with the LLMs. And, maybe again, that when ChatGPT brings in more advertising and Google switches to that, that'll be another avenue. But as of right now, it's not looking great for outbound, getting your message out. So what are people supposed to do? And my take is you should definitely be doing outbound. So do it while it lasts, right? And I feel that, given that zone will get flooded, though, you really do need to create a community that you serve with content. And so becoming a creator, right, is, I think, essential for every business person. In particular, if you're in professional services, I think it's like not optional anymore. And you have to build a community of people through social, through advertising, through cold outreach that you bring onto a platform you own. So you cannot rely on LinkedIn. You can't, if you have a bunch of followers on LinkedIn and X, that's great, but and use
Not
it.
enough.
But they just change the rules on you all the time, right? So they're gonna get a bunch of creators in there, get them working on it, and building their community there, and then they're gonna start charging you to talk to your own followers. So that's happened on Meta every time. It's increasingly happening on X, and LinkedIn is in that transition now. So you've really got to build to your own platforms, and that's going to be a newsletter, an SMS list, a podcast. That's the least efficient of these because you don't know who's listening. You have no way of determining that. So really, you want one. It's the most fun. Yeah, no, and it is good. It's good in the sense of when people listen to your podcast, they know you a lot better. So it does build a rapport with the listener, but it's just very difficult to grow them. You don't really know who's listening. So it's sort of like you're firing a bunch of random shots in the air.
Right.
But if you want something more measurable and under your control, it's really going to be newsletter, some kind of private community like on Mighty Networks or Circle or something else, or it's going to be like an SMS kind of thing. You really can't rely on anybody else besides that. So that's going to be the key to getting your message out. And in the world of AI content, not just outbound, but all content being supercharged by AI. People call it AI slop. I mean, there is AI slop, which is just bad, low quality content. I think AI can create great content. So there's just
Wait,
going to
what
be
did you call it? AI slug?
slop.
Slop. Oh, slop.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
like to me, AI
Junk.
slop is when you get ChatGPT to write something and it writes too much and it sort of all has the same tone. That's slop. That's just like junk
Yeah.
that you don't really
Okay.
want to read. But if you just do a few adjustments, you can get AI to be really good, and it's great content. I don't think it's slop.
Mhm.
The problem is there's just going to be too much of it. Too much high quality content is, I guess, a good problem, but for the consumer. But it's going to be a huge issue for people trying to sell, trying to get their message through. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you have some kind of like personal, well, I don't know if it needs to be personal, but like some kind of direct relationship with a
Mhm.
customer where you're communicating to them what you believe, how you think about things. So like if you're an accountant, you need to tell people how you think about accounting and how that works with the customer. And they need to, and if you don't think that that's possible, go look at Greg Crabtree, right? He built an entire new business out of doing that, right?
Right.
And in any kind of service, and obviously a product, you can create that. It's what's my lens on the world? How do I think about it? How do I think about my customers and what I do? And there's an audience. If you have a sustainable business, there's an audience for that, and you need to talk to them
Sure.
instead of just advertising, trying to blast out through paid
Mhm.
or other people's channels. So that's sort of the thesis.
So how do you start? So if you're talking
Um,
to, what's the first step?
yeah. Well, you have to have a message.
Well, you have to have a message, right? But you know, community, one of the other platforms, you obviously have to have your content, your message.
Yeah, and I think you got to kind of choose your your mechanism, right? So whether
Hmm.
it's a newsletter or a podcast or a community,
Hmm.
I would recommend doing something like a newsletter first because it's the easiest, most sustainable thing. A community, like a real community, a private community online, is very
Hmm.
difficult to create and maintain. It's a
Hmm.
lot of work to get people to go to another place to interact with each other. That's almost always a losing proposition. So those are very strong and very valuable if you get them, but I wouldn't start there. And again, like I said, podcasts I think have their flaws, although they're useful, or else we wouldn't be sitting here.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I think you start with a newsletter and you start looking at the content you already have. And AI is great at helping you do that, right? So
Right.
put all the stuff you've got about
Still
what you
that.
do.
Hmm.
And then, I say spend some time thinking and working with AI to figure out what's the job to be done of this newsletter. And I think that's
Hmm.
a really important point. It's something I haven't done very well. I keep
Hmm.
shifting around because I guess the job to be done for my newsletter is indicating what Alan is thinking about. That's basically what it is. So if that's
Hmm.
valuable, I guess that's good. But it would be better if the job to be done were more specific, right? Like it's like I'm helping small business owners stay up to speed on AI. That's a really great job to be done. But I kind of intermittently do that and then do other things. So
Hmm.
try to be more focused than I have been is always my advice. Always be more
More
focused than me.
focus.
More focused than me. Always do that. Um, and yeah, and I think that's where you start is what's the job to be done? Kind of gather what you've already got. I guarantee if you've been in business for a few years, you've got all the content you need. And then,
Hmm.
well, you could, another month or two, you can probably buy my newsletter agent to help you write the newsletter. I'm compiling all the sort of best practices and trying to use it, so, select the best AI model that does the best writing, which right now is Claude Sonnet 4.5 as of today. And then, getting all that slop stuff out of there. So basically telling the AI, don't do this and this and this, because those are tells, right? Or you just get tired of them. You're tired of like, oh, the brutal truth, or oh, the thing no one talks about is. I mean,
Here's the secret.
that still works, to be honest. So I don't know. Maybe you should do that. But part of me is just getting to the point where like I've read so much of that now that it just, I don't know. I read it and I'm like, eh. So I think like getting a lot of those tropes out of your writing, which I'm trying to do right now. So by the way, if you read something that I do, when I use that in something, then realize that I'm working on it. It's not done. But yeah, like that's where I think you start. And then how do you gather people to the list? That, there's a lot of ways to do that. So I think then you take advantage of this outbound stuff, right? Because we did say it's working right now. So use, the instantly.ai's, I'll have to get the name. There's another one that everybody's using right now. It's outbound outreach. And, go on social, post what you're writing about with links, like LinkedIn, people will go in, post, and then like 60 minutes later, 30 to 60 minutes later, I think you're supposed to come in and leave your newsletter link as a comment. Because they'll degrade your post if it's a direct link. So you do stuff like that. You can do ads to get people onto your newsletter. And some people do, there's actually a bunch of courses and stuff out there. Like there's a woman does a thing called Growth in Reverse, which is really good about how newsletters are big. There's Matt McGarry over at GrowLetter. He helped The Hustle and a bunch of others grow, newsletters grow. So like, you can take a course on it. You can, but to be honest, just start writing and start sending it to whoever you're connected to. And as you do meetings with people and customer pitches, just add them to your newsletter, right? And, it's a long-term asset. There are ways to speed it up, but you're going to have to grow it over time. But I'm telling you, now is the time, because in a couple years, there's just not going to be available to do much of the outbound anymore, and you need something there to help you.
So could you say, now outbound is still working? It won't be soon. How will you know, or will it be obvious?
I mean, it'll be obvious because no one will respond to you, right?
Just literally nobody's responding.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a little bit longer than 6 months or something, but I think it's probably a couple of years. But because like that's the other theme I've had is just how little AI adoption there's been. Like just business owners are not adopting AI native solutions, and I think it's partly people just don't want to pay another X number of dollars a month for something, but it's also just overwhelm. Like what is the best one? It changes every month or two, right? So right now it's instantly.ai is the one I think is affordable that works well, but it'll be something else in a few months. So I don't know what to tell you about that. You just have to, like, if you don't want to work, then you're not going to get a business that runs well, right? So it's just part of the game.
Cutting edge insight right there, right?
That's right. If you don't do stuff, nothing happens, right? Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I just think that's you got to somehow figure this out right now, and kind of cobble it together from everything you're doing, but make it a priority, because I think people also, like I notice most of the smaller clients that I've coached, they just don't prioritize this part of it because it is not going to be an immediate payoff.
Right. But do they want to? They want to. Your message is getting across, but it just seems too overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, they got a bunch of other stuff to do. It feels like just another thing, right? And but the reality is most small companies don't have good, repeatable marketing. They are intermittent. They try things, they don't try it long
Mm.
enough. They do different things. They stop doing it even when it's working because they get distracted.
Right.
There's 1,000 reasons.
Hmm.
But I'm telling you, it's look, telling people what you do is important in business. And like, if you don't have a marketing program, eventually you're going to get crushed.
Mm.
So you got to do it. And the sooner you do it and the more professionally and consistently you do it, the better it is. And the more it pays off. And that's how people grow. And when people don't grow, it's because of stuff like that. You know?
Hmm. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
brutal truth is no one,
What no one will tell you, but I will.
no one will tell you that if you don't do
But
stuff, you don't get anything. Right?
see, I mean, there you have it. Enough said.
That is the point. That is the key in business. You got to go do stuff.
Yeah. Get shit done. Right.
All right. What else? What else is interesting about this? Anything? Or have we
I
tapped
mean, I
this?
think, I mean, we've talked about this before. It's getting one thing that I take away from it's like you got to get your message out, right? And what does
Yeah.
that mean? It's like you got to have your content. It's like your personal library of everything you've been doing as a business owner and building over time,
Yeah.
whether it's a couple of years or 1 year or 10, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I think the people are comfortable with different levels of transparency, but to be honest, like people like other people, so they want to know you're a person. And so if you're a small business owner and you're struggling with
Mm-hmm.
stuff and you're writing about that, just talking about what it is like with clients. I mean, if you have clients and customers, you have stories, right? And
Mm-hmm.
people just want to hear about that stuff. And there's an audience for it. So just start with what you're doing. And now you've got all these tools to help you harvest what you're doing. Take a meeting transcript with a customer, obviously anonymize it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
just talk about the principles of what happened in that customer discussion, right? That's all
Mm-hmm.
it is. And people want to hear about it. So it'll take a while. And most people stop before they really get traction. And that's a shame because
Mm-hmm.
usually it's just that consistency over time that gets you there. So,
But the story too, I mean, you do that a lot in your newsletters. I mean, you make
right,
references to your story and what you've been through, and how
right.
you learned it. It's not like you just all of a sudden you're like, this all came. I mean, you're a smart guy, but you also had experience.
Yeah. No, and I think, certainly long-standing, hard-won experience is very impactful for people, but you don't have to have been in business for 20 years.
Hmm.
You can, like you have a
Right.
customer conversation today, and it's going to be about something relevant to business, right? So,
Hmm.
I think people there's a lot of, or what I've noticed, the other thing, actually a good theme is like, there's just gold lying on the ground in all these
Mm.
businesses, right? Like
What do you
I had
mean
this with,
exactly by that?
I had like two people I'm coaching on my volunteer side, and like one has a newsletter has a newsletter database of 15,000 people who signed up
Mm.
for her newsletter, and she sends a newsletter like once or twice a year. So I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
seems
Got to
like
do
there's
that.
some gold just sitting on the ground that you could mine here, right? Just dig
Right.
a
Right.
little bit, right?
Yep.
And then another person had an opportunity to. It was really cool where house design, interior design business, and they were able to, or they're getting a chance to potentially open a shop in this very prominent place that has a lot of like cool stuff.
Hmm.
And so it'll attract that kind of clientele, right? And what the cool thing is the owner does these consultations for people, like pay some amount of money, 600,000 bucks, and she'll come in and like do a consultation on how to design your house, and people
Mm.
love it, right?
Yeah.
But it's like now you have a shop in a place where potential customers are buying your stuff. You
Hmm.
at that place, you offer them these consultations. You have like a flyer, like some kind of cool, you're a designer, so some kind of cool thing that people
Yeah.
will want to take, and then they call you to come in and look at their house. And so the gold was that they had a shop that they weren't handing out this stuff in, right? So they weren't saying,
Mm.
"Hey, do the consultation." So it's like, but now you're getting all your marketing paid for. So they came to your
Yeah.
shop, they probably bought something. So that you made money there. Then some percentage of those people take the consultation. You made money there. And then some percentage of those people then hire you to be their designer. And now you've made money on all 3 transactions. And I was like, that is gold, right? Just implement that and you got a great business. So I noticed, and I noticed that like and she should start a newsletter about design ideas, right? So all these business owners had like things that were already sitting there that they just needed to do that would activate their businesses. And yet, like, even when I see, and that's not the case with these two, but like, I see other owners like that, and they'll be like, okay, now I got to get a Google Ads guy because I need more leads. And it's like, well, you already have like 5 things that you've done before that worked, and you stop doing them for no reason. And you're going to go do something 6th thing before you go do the 5 things that worked before that are proven. So, and are less expensive in almost all cases. So I was like, just go back and do what you were doing before and do it consistently and you'll win. And that is like almost every business owner. That should be a podcast in and of itself. It's just like, you've already sitting in front of you.
I like the way you put it, like gold lying around. It's not so much low hanging fruit. It's gold just sitting there. Easy,
totally.
Right? It's a better way
if you just do it, it'll work.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me how many owners have done things in the past. They know that it works and they don't do it. And then they go do something else. So you're like, why are you doing something else? Like, the first thing I always ask when people don't have leads, what have you done before when you don't have leads? And then they tell me, and it's like, did it work? Yeah. Why did you stop doing it? I don't know. I got distracted. So why don't we go try to do that first? Because we know it works, right? That's
it's like an aha moment.
Yeah. So that's the free advice. Yeah. You can just play this tape back to yourself, and then you can save yourself thousands of dollars in coaching fees. So, right. That's what I mean. To be honest, I have to tell myself stuff like that too, right? It's not having it's easier to judge as a third party when you're looking dispassionately than to be in it,
No, of course.
When you're in it, it's like, oh, I just read an article about how this works, so I want to try it, right? You're not like, oh, what's the most efficient way for me to get new customers? What have I done in the past? Like people don't think that way.
I think people forget too, because there could be, there's a million things that were going on when they were doing that, and for which they stopped doing it, for whatever that was, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, now we had 2 good topics so I think that's enough. I think we've educated people enough today.
Yeah, totally.
There's no more. The wisdom, their heads will explode if they learn any more from me today.
Those nuggets of gold have been dropped.
All right. Until next week.
All right. Talk to you later.
You've been listening to Owner RX with Alan Pentz. Want to apply what you just learned? Try our AI business advisor at ownerrx.com. It has all the insights and lessons from this podcast, plus hundreds of playbooks, ready to solve your specific business challenges. Owner RX. Stop being the bottleneck. Start being the owner.